Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Global Industry Spotlight. My name is Daniel Crane, and I am the Program Director of the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship. The Center for Creative Entrepreneurship is focused on education. We want to provide great business resources for entrepreneurs in the creative industries. So every Thursday, we are talking to different organizations, on a global scale, focused in the creative industries and tech, and also helping entrepreneurs, helping startup businesses scale up, right? Entrepreneurship takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of focus. It takes resources. And we're really excited about our guest today. Media Tech Ventures is a partner of CCE and 2112. And John Zozzaro is the co-founder and president of Media Tech. And they connect with many different countries, and they provide programs and education and help startups grow. So let's bring him in and have a conversation. Hey, John.
What's up?
How's it going?
Good, man. I love the intro music. I didn't want it to stop. That's great.
Yeah, I always feel like sometimes the intros for talks can be so hype,
Right.
and I wanted something that's just a little more like it's
Subtle.
lunchtime.
Yeah, I
Let's
feel that.
so John, yeah, if you could talk to us a little bit about Media Tech and just the work that you're doing, in general, and how I think first start with kind of the idea behind Media Tech, and then what you're doing right now.
Absolutely. Happy to. First of all, really, really appreciate being here. And this conversation in particular is very exciting for me and everybody that is doing work with and at Media Tech Ventures. Media Tech Ventures came about understanding that the internet really changed everything. And the challenge is when you look at the initial inception of media, you'll see that there were very distinct verticals that made up what was media back then. It was marketing, advertising, film, television, music. And then when the internet came about, it brought everything together, right? So it devalued media, unfortunately, across the board, but it also gave life to incredibly thriving verticals such as VR, AR, video games, podcasting, and the like. But we still haven't quite figured out this thing called the internet, unfortunately. And so the idea of Media Tech Ventures was to help media and creative entrepreneurs really understand technology, the internet, first and foremost, right? And it evolved over time to now Media Tech Ventures being a holding corporation, really dedicating and helping educate public, private, corporate capital on how to move and how to invest in media tech innovation. And that's kind of the natural progression from where we started to where we are now.
And can you talk a little bit about, I think it's an interesting concept of how do we use the internet, right? I mean, everyone is on the internet, but as a business, how do we use it to, to help us grow? And what are some of the things that, maybe obvious for a lot of people, or it seems obvious, but people aren't doing it, I guess is the question.
Well, if I could answer that question, because we could spend a whole half an hour talking about that in particular. And there's really three things that I always preach when it comes to understanding the internet, but also understanding how to build yourself, your business. It doesn't matter if you're an artist or a corporation or whatever it is, right? First and foremost, really understanding analytics. Google Analytics is a free tool. Most people don't use it or don't understand how to use it. Google has free resources on how to use it. And that is kind of the bedrock of intelligence of how people engage and how we measure engagement across all of our digital channels. And so it's important to understand if I'm going to grow something, right, I need to know how to measure it, and I need to know what to look for in the metrics and how to change things based off the information that I get. And that's what analytics is going to give you. Number two is, to really get good at one type of social media advertising. Pick one. Facebook, LinkedIn, it doesn't matter. When you understand all of the variables inside of how to set those up and target people and right bidding and A/B testing and all the things that go with online promotion, you'll start to see that there's commonalities between all of these tools. So get really good at one of them, because then those your knowledge will transfer across each of those channels, and it's not going to be wildly different like some of the other tools and technologies that are out there. And last but not least is just learn how to build a website and how to optimize it. I can't stress enough how important that is. We're in the 21st century digital economy, and if what the pandemic has showed us and exploited wholeheartedly was the fact that it doesn't matter if you're brick and mortar, doesn't matter what you're doing, if you are not online and something bad were to happen like a pandemic, you don't exist. So understand how content management systems work and how to build that and optimize it for indexing in Google and to search, and how to be found in blogging and content, and how all these words and all these things affect you in the world of being indexed online. So it's those three things that I would say are kind of the foundation that I always recommend to begin to understand how to leverage the internet, but how to build something online.
And those are, would you say that, to get a basic understanding of those resources, there are, where would people find that, right? Are you just saying like, hey, go and Google, search engine optimization, go and Google analytics, and there are kind of free resources for people to go and check and learn how to do, some of the things you're talking.
Well, you actually hit the nail on the head, Daniel, and that is we live in a free information economy, right? There's nothing you can learn how to build a car from scratch on YouTube to how to build a website from scratch. You need to Google it. There's obviously more dedicated institutional or non-institutional paths that you can take to upskill, and if you thrive in those types of environment rather than being self-taught, then yeah, you can go to Coursera, right? You can go to all these other websites to learn how to do that in a more organized setting, or if you want to take a class on it, a boot camp, I'm sure there's plenty available digitally and or your local college. But yeah, there's more than enough free resources. I know that Google has already free resources for Google Analytics, but yeah, you can do step-by-step tutorials on how to set up a WordPress site, to Facebook advertising, and how to set up promotions on Facebook as well.
Okay. All right. So now let's shift into, where media tech is right now. I know that you guys have organized a couple of cohorts in collaboration with different countries, and helping them grow their business, enter different markets. Can you talk a little bit about that work?
Absolutely. So we are all media professionals at Media Tech Ventures, and one of the things we recognized early on with our curriculum for Collective, which is our incubator, is there are organizations, trade associations, and investment associations, economic development organizations like Pro Colombia or Italian Trade Agency, Cotra, that are responsible for helping startups expand internationally. And in meeting with all of these organizations year after year during South by Southwest, which brings dozens and dozens of countries together to talk about innovation, especially in media and entrepreneurship, um, we learned very quickly that our curriculum could serve as a kind of a vehicle for their program. And so what we did was we changed some of the curriculum to better suit the objectives to helping these organizations scale internationally. We focus on the US in particular because we're here, but the goal is after taking the class, you now have the skills and you now have the tools to apply to any market that you're looking to expand in, and you could go to work on that in particular. And so it's been extremely exciting and humbling working with all these countries and dozens of startups all over the world. And we very much look forward to continuing to do that program. And we're in talks with a lot of other countries as we speak.
Yeah, and can you just take me through that program in particular of what the collective, like what education, in that realm looks like? Of hey, here are the steps that we see, that are important for companies to kind of walk through when trying to expand.
Yeah. So two important distinctions there. Collective, which is our incubator, is kind of a early stage, obviously, because incubators focus on early stage, back of the napkin to a Delaware C corp in 12 weeks, which is what our program focuses on. So if you have an idea and you're looking to build it into a company or a startup, whatever that is, pursue it, and it's media tech focused, our program is right for you. The international one in particular is more focused on companies that are a little bit further along because they actually have to have the means to explore realistically expanding internationally. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense for them to go through a program like that if they're still trying to figure out and validate, right, and build something new in their own backyard. So as far as our incubator goes, right, we focus heavily on marketing first. I think this is where a lot of other programs, frankly, miss the opportunity. And what we've seen, and the reason why we ended up building our own, is a lot of programs start with their business plan or your idea, or what it is that you're doing, and go build it and go do that, and then go validate this thing that you've built. When in reality, you should have spoken to hundreds of people before you start building anything to validate whether or not anybody finds particular value or interest in what it is that you are doing, and whether or not they're actually going to pay you for it. And one of the things that we always preach, and it's some advice that I got from a mentor of mine quite a bit ago, is to be obsessed with the problem more than you are your solution. Because chances are, based
Mm,
off of feedback, and as you progress through a program, as you progress through building anything, that will change based off of the feedback that you get. But if your goal is to always solve that problem, then you'll solve it. It might not look like what you thought it should initially. So we always say, check your ego at the door in the room of entrepreneurship, because it is a very humbling experience. But if you're able to follow what the market's telling you and change accordingly, you will be successful, right? I mean, startups don't fail, founders give up at the end of the day. So we start with marketing, right? And we really kind of validate it. We talk about the team, we talk about go to market, we talk about all these strategies, and your why you're doing all these things. And we move then into the next phase, which is more on the development side, right? So what does legal and cap tables look like, right? What does a roadmap look like? What are capital considerations, and what are the different types of capital out there for you? And then we move from development into production. Well, now we need to go produce all of this research and all of these things that we've gathered, whether that's building landing pages, right, and starting to build the audience, right, to understanding what it takes to go fundraise and getting a pitch deck ready, right, and developing a more in-depth pro forma or a roadmap for the thing that you validated. Obviously, there's a potential market for. And by the end of the program for our incubator, we really want you to be able to get anybody excited about what it is that you're doing in 30 seconds or less. And
mm,
that is one of the things that we take most pride on, because it doesn't matter if they're an investor, if they're a prospect, if they're a potential partner, if it's somebody at a gas pump. If you can't get that person excited, at least interested and intrigued about what it is you're doing within the first 30 seconds, chances are you've already lost them, and it's kind of on to the next one. With the international, we focus a little bit more, obviously, on what it takes to scale internationally, partnerships, relationships. What are the entity considerations and corporation considerations when having a U.S. based office versus wherever it is that they're originally formed in, and what are the implications there? What are the capital considerations for U.S. versus where they're at, and can it go across the pond or not? To looking at and understanding the taxes in America. But all the biggest thing is the cultural differences. Just because you have a product that works in South America, and you've done the research and you've validated all this stuff, and you've got this system going, does not mean it's going to transfer well in America or any other market, right? Any other country for that matter. So are we taking that into consideration, but also looking at the competition and the landscape, so we can actually see where in the marketplace we can fit, and who the partners that might be involved to help us do that, and where we can establish ourselves in the US, where we know that there's a target market for what it is that we're trying to do.
and in terms of the companies that you have worked with, you know, what are some of the things that you see that people just kind of lack in general? Are there things that are kind of like consistent, or is it really company to company or person to person? You know, I'm just wondering, when these people come to the table, is there always like the one thing they like haven't thought of, or it kind of just depends on, you know, each company?
It definitely varies
Yeah.
because it's not just the program itself or the startup idea that they have, right? The
Mm.
vertical within media that they're looking to pursue, but it's them as an individual and their backgrounds and their experience up until this point, right? So it's kind of a mixed bag. Some of them could be marketers, some of them could be engineers, some of them could be videographers, right? Photographers, whatever that is. And so it really is a mixed bag. So we definitely see and also age as well, right? We've had 60 plus year olds to 20 something year olds, right? And everything in between go through these. And obviously the more experienced individuals that go through the program might have a better understanding, but then, then it's a matter of breaking down maybe some of the bad habits that they've had to build good habits through the curriculum, while we're teaching those that don't know how to build good habits from the get-go, right? So it is a mixed bag. Everybody also learns differently, so it's important to appreciate, do you learn better with, are you auditory, are you visual, are you hands-on, and making sure that we're providing them as much value every step of the way throughout their progression.
Okay, so yeah, that's fantastic. And if we're to zoom out, what are you excited about in general? With the industry that you work in, what kind of gets you going, or you think, it is our exciting futures? What does the future look like? For the creative industries, for media tech, for startups in general.
That is a incredible question that I am not sure that I can answer, but let me try. Let me do my best. Look, I'm most excited about the fact that there are two absolute items every business in the world has. That's media and that's technology.
Mhm.
Every company in the world uses media and technology. So being media tech focused, we are by default in every industry. It just is a matter of how, right? Whether that's marketing, whether that's the content management system, social media, content in general, to developing VR in healthcare. There's just so many applications and effects that media has on the world, because media really is just how we view the world at the end of the day. Any sort of piece of content and how we view the world is media. So that's what gets me excited. Is media will forever be a constant, but more importantly, the media industry will always continue to thrive no matter the world economy and things that may or may not happen. Case in point, during the pandemic, we saw catastrophic, just a huge hit to the entertainment industry in particular, right?
Right.
Now, where the entertainment industry suffered greatly during the pandemic, we saw other media industries just completely thrive, whether that was video games, whether that was VR, whether that was Netflix and content, right? And so there was really, it doesn't matter what's going on. Media will always kind of be an ebb and flow with kind of the world around us and what's happening. As far as the future of media tech goes, look, our goal at the end of the day is to play air traffic controllers and be the connective tissue for the media industry, whether that's bringing together corporate interests, capital interests, entrepreneurs, all together in a place where they can find value with each other. I think that's one of the things that every industry struggles with, to bring those parties together. But more importantly, in media in particular, where a lot of investors, depending on the venture capital firm or the corporation you ask what media is, everybody's going to have wildly different answers, and that is a problem in itself that we need to solve, right? So we're really trying to create some sort of foundational understanding of what media is, so we could better grow the people that are in it, the entrepreneurs that serve it, the corporate interests that are looking at these things, and maybe they're too high up to see what's going on at the ground floor, but also the capital interests, to let them know that although media might be high risk in certain instances, it's also extremely high in ROI, if it is in the right setting and it is the right organization, right? Top 5 media companies in the world, as an example, trade at almost $1 trillion market cap. So how do we educate capital to better move efficiently into the entrepreneurship ecosystem within media and the creative industries? Well, there's a variety of different ways that we help facilitate those types of conversations and relationships. As far as entrepreneurship goes, there's no better time to be an entrepreneur than right now. The world has a lot of issues there's a lot of challenges, and there's a lot of capital that is uncommitted. So find your community, find the people that are passionate about the things that you're passionate about, the programs that help you grow, whether that's incubators, accelerators, startup studios, commercialization programs. What makes sense for you? Know that there's an unlimited amount of resources out there to help you grow and scale, and you're not alone. I think that one of the things I get most excited about being entrepreneurs, or teaching entrepreneurs in the 21st century digital economy, is this sense of community, a sense of belonging, and just knowing that there's so much out there to help you, that it's just waiting for you to find it and take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really what the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship is focused on, right? It's like there are resources, and I think it's, everyone listen. John just said it. It's a great time to be an entrepreneur. There's lots of issues out there. There's lots of things that we can, be solving and working on to, create a better world and some cool things. So, John, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. I'm going to put up at the end, his links to Media Tech. Please reach out to him or me if you want to connect with John. He's a great resource. He has a lot of knowledge, in the creative industries and building businesses. We're grateful to have him in our ecosystem. And John, thanks again for taking the time to talk to us today.
Absolute pleasure to be here. Love these types of conversations. We need to have more of them.
Yeah.
Please, for those of you that may not know much about Media Tech Ventures, come to our website, create a profile. It's free. Get plugged into the community. It's continuous. It's continuing to grow, and that's the great place to meet other like-minded and passionate entrepreneurs, investors, corporate professionals in media and creative tech. We'll see you there.
Great. All right, John, thanks so much. Well, there you have it, everyone. John Zozzaro, co-founder and president of Media Tech Ventures, talking to us about, the creative industries, media, and building businesses, entrepreneurial education. And, go check out their website, mediatech.ventures. Again, my name is Daniel Crane. I am the program director of the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship. Please check out our website at cceglobal.org. We have some great events coming up in September. Every Thursday, we're going to be doing a global industry spotlight. Coming up, we have Kanari Vora, who is a dancer and choreographer. Talking to Harrison Jones of London Partners, and Lena Jahila, who is based out of Finland. And then we're also talking to Daphne Laura, who works for Choose Paris region. These are all very exciting global partners. We want to, bring this community together, the creative industry community, learn about what educational resources really help you to grow your business. And we are very, very excited, about building this together with all of you. These are the people that we bring on to these events and these shows, are a part of our ecosystem. They're here as resources for our community. And so please, check in with us, go to cceglobal.org. And, besides that, have a wonderful rest of the day. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us today. And that's it. Ciao for now. Take care.